Boom.
Boom. Hey, buddy, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Welcome to the Build and Grow with Real Estate show. My name's Josh Weidman, and this is my co-host Judah Hoover. We are both investors heavily involved in real estate. And, if you need a loan on an investment property, give me a call. Hard Money Bankers, we can get you approved the same day and get you funding in as little as 24 hours. Judah here. My co-host, Judah, is a real estate agent and principal at Slate House Group, a modern real estate company providing management, sales, and service. Now, 3 days a week we come on here, right? And we jump on and we jump on live. We talk about the real estate industry, whether you are an agent or you are an investor or a wholesaler or even a contractor. We've had dozens of guests over our 160 plus episodes. So if you're somebody in the real estate industry and, you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks. If you're joining us for the 100th time, make sure you invite some friends that you think would benefit from this, right?
Invite some friends. Leave their information here in the comments. We love hearing from people, and we certainly also call people out who comment during the show and try to answer questions that people comment on during the show, and that kind of helps steer our conversation. So yesterday was the Super Bowl, and I got to tell you, it was not the most exciting game. I'm not a very big sports guy to begin with.
Oh my gosh, you don't think it was exciting? I thought it was a great game.
You thought, well, I mean, just as far as Super Bowls go, it wasn't necessarily terribly exciting, but I thought it was good. Yeah. And I would say 7 out of 10. And but here's the sports I do like. I like Formula One racing, and I enjoy Formula One racing so much it's hard for me to pick a single team that I like. So I like Formula One racing, and I also enjoy watching Penn State football. But I'm not as crazy a big Penn State football as a lot of people are. But in sports, I like the heroes. I like the guys who are larger than life, and I love the lessons that we can get from them. Vince Lombardi is one of my personal heroes as well. I've got a Vince Lombardi poster hanging on my wall with a great speech from him about how winning's not the only thing. Winning's not everything. It's the only thing. Yeah. And so it's really cool seeing some quotes and some video from him yesterday. But I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, and my Penn State friends have been beating up on me because Tom Brady went to hated Michigan, and that's not something, that's not a stain that you can ever wash off in some people's opinion. And I agree. However, I just love Tom Brady. I just, for a lot of the reasons that we're going to get into here today, I think he's a great, wonderful, amazing person to look up to. And I think that there's a lot of business lessons that you can pull from Tom Brady. And we are going to be talking about the 5 lessons you can learn from Tom Brady.
And the truth is, you can pull a lot more than just those life lessons out of some of his accomplishments. And I think it's interesting to look at outliers, people that achieve exceptional things in whatever their chosen endeavor is. It's one of the reasons I like Elon Musk so much. Is like he just thinks in a way that people don't see otherwise. But I mean, let's jump in with Tom Brady because these are 5 big lessons, and I think that there's 5 pretty big takeaways here.
Right.
All right, so let's look at the 5 lessons. The first one, this is probably my favorite lesson. If you don't know this story, Tom Brady, when he was the head quarterback at Michigan, or the starting quarterback at Michigan, when they won the Big Ten, they won the Rose Bowl. I remember watching the game, and I can remember him. He was a senior. Like how many college quarterbacks last through their senior season and then go on and do great things in the NFL, right? Usually they're getting drafted junior year, they're putting in their time, but as soon as they have that great season, why stick around? Well, this was the only season he started. So he starts as Michigan's starting quarterback. They win the Rose Bowl. And then he goes to the combine, which is like where you prep and get tested and speed and, how high can you jump? How fast can you run? What are some of your agility and strength and skills? And the guy runs a 5.28 40.
Good or bad for those of us that know nothing?
Well, so Deion Sanders ran a 4.340 at the combine, and it's like the fastest time they've ever had. Basically, he finished an entire second faster than Brady would have finished in a 40-yard dash. We're not talking like 100 yards.
Right.
You know, essentially, we're talking about taking 20% off of the speed for the fastest guy. So essentially, the comments for Brady were like, yeah, he's average.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, made such a big impact. He didn't get drafted till the 6th round. He was the 199th draft. I think there was 121. So somebody's going to correct me here, but like 121 draft picks overall, and he's 199.
Wow.
Right? Here's the crazy part about this. After he got drafted, he walked up to Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the Patriots.
Right.
He told him, "I'm the best decision this organization has ever made." Now, drafted 199, and that's what the guy says.
Right.
He goes on to win 6 Super Bowl championships for them. And
also, what's crazy about that is it's also 100% true. Like I remember playing Tecmo Super Bowl as a kid in 6th grade. In the Patriots were the worst team in that game.
Yeah,
and for the longest time, the Patriots are like what the Browns are right now, or I mean, pick another. I don't really know a lot about sports. I don't know who but the Patriots were just they were the Phillies at the NFL. You know what I mean? Like they're the lovable losers. They're never going to have a shot. They're never going to have a chance. They're just the worst team ever. And he turned him into arguably one of the greatest sports dynasties ever.
Right. Actually, they're tied for the most number of Super Bowls. 6.
Right.
All while crazy. Right.
Money on the line, Josh. You got to get that. That could be a loan that you need to close tomorrow.
One of these days, we're going to take live calls.
That could be.
We're going to totally take live calls, and everybody, you'll hear some background. All right. So Tom Brady. Great in the draft. Awesome. All right.
No one else knows what you've got. Here's the bottom line is no one else knows what you've got. You know what you've got. It's up to you. Don't worry about what other people say about you. What are you going to do when you have the opportunity to show up? Are you going to show up the way you know you can show up? Or are you going to show up the way that everyone thinks you're going to show up? And are you going to prove everybody right? Or are you going to prove everybody wrong?
Well, and really, at the end of the day, nobody really knows what you have. And so, you know what? Maybe you don't know what you have. Maybe you don't know what you've got hiding inside of you until you get that one opportunity. You know what? He might not have been drafted. At 199, there was probably not a great chance for him to win the starting job. I mean, they drafted him as a backup.
Right.
I think there was 7 other quarterbacks drafted before him so it's just interesting. When you get the opportunity, nobody knows what you really got. Pull it all out and get to it. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, you're never too old to be a winner.
Now, Josh, this is one of those things that used to not really resonate with me or you, but at 41, these parts of these stories are starting to hit a little bit closer to home and be a little bit more motivational than what they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have told me, yeah, I'm just too old to get into real estate. I'm too old to get started. Look at this 20-year-old over here. He just bought his first house. He's like, I don't think I can do that. Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and if you want to change your life, you're not too old. You can change what you got left. The average player in the NFL is age 26. Tom Brady last night was 43 when he won his his 7th Super Bowl.
Right. And the other thing that I love about this is not just how long he's played, but how long he's played after everyone has been saying he's too old and needs to hang it up.
Yeah.
2013, that was 7 years ago, my friend.
Right.
7, 8 years ago, depending on how you count. And so 8 years ago, so twice as long ago as the average NFL career is.
Yeah.
So twice as long ago as the average NFL career is, people were like, Tom, it's time to hang it up. And if he would have listened to them, he wouldn't have gone to 5 more Super Bowls.
5. Yeah. and won 4. And won 4. I mean, he won more since he's been old than he was when he was young. You know,
Right.
one thing that people overlook with age, and you know, we give a lot of lip service to it, but the older I get, the more I realize, like, life experience, there is no substitute for life experience. As a 20-year-old, you will look at things completely differently than you do at 45 or, you know, or at 40, just because you've gone through some stuff.
Right.
As you know, if you've got a little age to you, you got some seasoning and experience, that's the stuff that you can pull from forever. You know, your knowledge and your experiences are things that you can pull from for the rest of your life. All right, so you're never too old. That's, I would think that'd be pretty self-explanatory, but you know, a lot of times it's not.
Right.
All right. It's a long game. Don't lose your head when things don't go according to plan.
Right.
All right. Judah, in sales, what is the first thing what can you not wait to hear? I mean, and maybe I'm setting you up wrong here, but like, when you're talking to somebody and you're trying to sell them something, or you're trying to acquire their property or whatever, you want them to say no at least once, right?
Right. Right. You want to get to the no as soon as possible.
That's right.
I used to do telemarketing, and everything began. It was a truncated sales process, and everything began by getting them to say no as soon as possible.
That's right.
And I'll never forget the time that I was selling lawn care. And I mean, the pitch was basically this: hey, Josh, from times we've treated your lawn in the past, we know how big it is. It's going to be $50 an application. I'd like to do 8 of them. We'll be out every 4 to 6 weeks. Let's go ahead and get that set up for you.
Yeah.
Like, no pitch, no features, no benefits, no whatever. It's just, this is what I want to sell you, and this is how much it's going to cost. Hurry up and tell me no, so that I can ask why, so that then I can start overcoming objections, so that we can go from there. And it's a process called, go for no, and you base everything on how many no's you get, not on how many yeses you get. But it's a long game, and if you get discouraged by the no's, if you get discouraged by the stuff that goes wrong, see, here's the problem. I've run into a whole bunch of people that have actually had so many good things going for them. They didn't realize how blessed and how protected they were, and how, in some cases, how lucky they were. And then when they met adversity, they didn't know how to handle it. They didn't know how to plan for it. They didn't realize how over-leveraged time, over-leveraged money, over-leverage can be a whole lot of things. They didn't realize how much outside the margins they were working in a whole bunch of different things until adversity came upon them. Yeah. So when you work through adversity, it's when you realize what it takes to be a winner.
Well, and you know what? The idea of life being a long journey. I mean, one of the points of perspective that I got as I've gotten older is that you live a long life, and that life is going to come whether you're ready for it or not. So sometimes things go wrong, but if you put off dealing with those things, like, you put your head in the sand in the third quarter because you're down by a touchdown or two,
right?
You're going to lose. Where the opportunity for success is right there, but it's through the mess. You gotta, people talk about overcoming adversity. What you're overcoming is your own self-doubt, your own, blocks that you put in front of you, instead of taking that adversity head on, going through it. And when you get down to the other side, that's when you reach that success. In Brady's career, almost a third of all of the games that he's played, he's been down or even entering the fourth quarter. Right. 54% of those games he's walked away victorious.
What's crazy is, think about that. You're in the fourth quarter of a football game. If you're beating a Tom Brady team, the odds are still that you're going to lose.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. You go in the fourth quarter, lose it. Like, it's insane. It's right. Insane.
So be that guy, right?
Right.
Be that guy who people say, geez, Josh is behind. Josh is out. I don't know how Josh is gonna come from behind on this one, but it's gonna be fun to watch, because I know Josh always comes from behind. I know Josh always figures out a way to win. I know Josh is always the way to. I had an uncle, my Uncle Mitch, who I talk about a lot. He used to say all the time, "I'm lucky. Good stuff happens to me. You should hang around me and some of my luck is going to rub off on you.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it didn't matter what adversity came at Uncle Mitch. He was not going to let himself be beaten down. And he was going to somehow find a way to win. But so there's that part of this lesson, but there's also another part of this lesson. If you look at Cal Ripken Jr. or you look at Tom Brady, if you look at athletes that have historically played their game for a long time and been at it for a long time, they make a lot of personal sacrifices along the way. Yeah. I was just reading the other day, and I won't get into why or how or anything like that, but Tom Brady doesn't just look at the caloric intake of the foods that he eats. He also looks at how much are they pH balanced? And if I eat something that is acidic, then how much, basic food do I need to eat? Or if I've eaten stuff that's too basic, what does that mean? And things like that. So when you try to be excellent, if you put all the effort in to doing all the little things right over a long time, you are going to, exactly like Travis says here, have a manifestation of reality. You are going to create your world. And if you decide that it matters and you decide that you want to pursue excellence in your health, that's going to happen. Josh, I'm 41 and I'm now going to the gym on a pretty regular basis, not necessarily because I want to get all big and buff and swole, but because I know and understand that the best thing you can do to fight off cognitive decline, which is where we are, Josh, we're over 40, like we're not as sharp as we were when we were 20, is either start a running regimen or start a weightlifting regimen. Is the best thing you can do to stay mentally focused. So Tom Brady did all of these things that indirectly impacted his health and impacted his game and impacted what and how he showed up on a regular basis, because it's a long game.
Awesome. That's exactly right. You're playing the long game, and hopefully you're playing the long game, and we're not talking 2 years,
right,
or a year, right? All right. Next lesson, having the right leader changes the game. I mean, really simply, New England before Brady won 0 championships. After Brady, they won 6.
Right.
Tampa Bay was 7-9 last year. They were 11-5 this year and won a Super Bowl. Like the same factor applies. If you are looking for success in business or success in your life or your spiritual life or your work life or whatever, you need to find a leader. Think about the guys on these teams with like Tom Brady's a quarterback. He can't, he's not the wide receiver. He's not throwing the ball to himself. He's not, doing dive plays up the middle. He's not playing defense. He's not kicking field goals. There's a lot of other people that contribute to that success. But the leadership, the people that really step up and say, look, guys, here's what's possible. Here's what we can do together. All of us, let's do this together. And not only can share his experience, but can share his vision with all those other players, and it ups all of their game. How does a 7-9 team become 11-5 and win the world championship in a year? I mean, did all the players get that much better? No, they had great leadership. They had great vision.
I love, one of the things that I love about just the story of the NFL, and even though I don't like watching a lot of football, but if you look at those combine stats and you look at those other things, so the pure athletic talent on any team is pretty uniform, right? So if you basically, the best team in the NFL's wide receivers run about as fast as the worst team in the NFL's wide receivers. The starting line, the offensive line weight, you need some weight up there, especially when you compare it to the average human being. Right?
Yes.
Like these guys they're all tremendous athletes. They're all
degrees of deviation.
They're not in the top 5%. They're not even top 1%. They're in the top 0.1%
Yes.
of American athletes.
Yep.
And what separates, it's not about talent and it's not about skill. It's about leadership, heart, desire, drive.
Yep.
These are the things that are going to get you from where you want to be, from where you are to where you want to be. It doesn't matter that you do have money or don't have money, because I know I can't tell you how many people call me on a regular basis. Jude, I got $1 million to invest in real estate. I want to invest in real estate, and they're looking for somebody else to do it for them. You can't have somebody else do the push-ups. You've got to actually do the work and actually be successful. There's a lot of people with $1 million who they come to real estate investing and they invest money in real estate, but they don't invest money profitably in real estate. See, it takes that time, that commitment, that drive, that leadership, that self-leadership, that dedication to profitably invest in real estate. And just like in the NFL, there's shortcuts to victory. There's no shortcuts in real estate investing, and you've got to be a leader, surround yourself with leaders, strive for leadership, and that is the focus of it all. You've got to have that vision. The Bible tells us that without a vision, the people perish. Without a vision, the people are lost. You need to know where you're going.
Yeah. So find a good leader. If you're not that leader, if you're not somebody that is sharing the dreams, find somebody that does. Because when you've got that core, when you've got a group of individuals, even if it's just one other person, the power of two, the power of three, you've got somebody that has a vision that you can latch onto. That'll propel you so much farther than you could accomplish by yourself. So finding a good leader, finding good partners, finding good people to surround yourself is key. And that leads
to become that leader, and you will attract people to you. One of my he's a good friend of mine, and he's also a coach and a mentor. And he used to always say, "Light yourself on fire, and people will come from miles around to watch you burn."
Yeah, it's true, right? Exactly. All right, leads me to this one surprised the heck out of me when I found this out. All right, but it makes a lot of sense. When you strategically invest your profits, it means longer and higher peaks of your success. Now, what am I talking about? I'm not talking about you make $100 and you reinvest all $100. But what I am talking about is if you make $100, you make $100,000, put 50 it back into your business.
Right.
Invest it into an employee or a marketing campaign or some infrastructure, a project manager, or whatever, in order to make that business larger and more productive and more successful. Brady, they say he sacrificed $60 million in income during his time with the Patriots. That's a lot of money. It's roughly about $3 million a year. But that money, the organization was able to take that money and then attract and keep talent in other positions. So we had young, fast running backs, awesome receivers, great linemen. He was able to surround himself with high-level people, even though he was making a little bit less money. On the long term, don't you think he made all that money back by endorsements, by bonuses, by Super Bowl rings? He's the greatest quarterback that ever lived because he won 7 world championships and 5 MVPs.
Right. What if his career was half as long?
Right.
Because he wasn't reinvesting and he wasn't willing to be a team player. And if his career was half as long, he wouldn't have had those additional multi-million-dollar years. So he definitely made that back.
Yeah.
Cutting marketing is just something that you should never do. You're always looking for deals. You're always looking for money. You're always marketing for distressed sellers. You're always marketing for people to invest monetarily into your business. And that takes time, that takes effort, and that takes money to do. And those should be some of the first dollars that you allocate every single month.
Yeah.
So I know that, it's one of the things that I do is whenever I list somebody's house and it gets sold and then I do a transaction, and I get a $3,000, $5,000 commission. I take 1 or 2 grand and just shove it right aside. I don't even think about it, for taxes, and I take another 1 or 2 grand and I shove it aside for marketing, just to keep the thing going. So what I actually live on is a small piece of that, and that way I've always got the pump primed. I'm always doing real estate deals. I'm always working on the next thing. And therefore, I never have to worry about, am I closing enough deals this month to pay my bills? Am I closing enough deals next month to pay my bills? Because I've just got this pipeline that I've built because I continuously, strategically reinvest in making more stuff happen. Here's the other thing that I do when it comes to reinvesting. So whenever I screw up, whenever I'm late for an appointment, yeah, I know it does. It's from time to time. Whenever I'm late for an appointment, or if I don't call somebody back, or I don't do something that I should have done, I force myself to invest in that situation. So I buy somebody a $50 Amazon gift card and send it to them. I force myself to do things like that, so that, or I know what their restaurant of choice is, and I, buy them a gift card there or something like that. So I force myself so that it is a memorable thing to me, to therefore be on time the next time with other appointments and things like that. It's almost like you give yourself a spanking so that you punish your own bad behavior, and that's a form of reinvesting in yourself so that you become a better person and a more professional individual.
Yeah. It's good stuff. There's a lot of haters out there for Tom Brady. I'm not in love with the guy. I just think it's pretty darn impressive when you've got someone that consistently rises to the top of their chosen profession and their chosen trade. It's really impressive. And, it's something that we should all strive for, is be the best in the world at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that it's a good thing that you're not in love with Tom Brady, because that would make Elon Musk a little bit nervous and a little bit jealous. If he thought you were coming for that crown. Did you see the advertisement, by the way, for Elon Musk's space vision, whatever thing? He's apparently for average nobodies to space.
No,
I gotta look more into it, but yeah, apparently Elon Musk is sending 4 normies into space.
Look, Elon Musk is awesome. There's exciting stuff, but I always think it's fascinating how as a human race, we gravitate towards exceptionalism. We gravitate towards greatness and success and glory, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, it could be the other way. That could be our default. I love this. I don't know, this pursuit of excellence, even if it's vicariously through someone else or another team. We all want to be the best, and we want to have a part of it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Completely agree. So we've got a good guest coming up on Thursday of this week. I forget who we have this week, but Josh and I have lined up the next 5 or 6 weeks worth of guests. So every Thursday, we're going to be back here with an amazing guest. And then Friday, we're going to be talking about current events and news of the world and as it relates to real estate. And then Mondays, we're going to be continuing to deliver amazing, great content as it relates to real estate, real, meaningful, teachable, timely content. There's a lot of stuff that I read online and I look at it and I'm like, geez, this article was written in 2009. Does any of this even apply anymore? So what Josh and I are talking to you guys about here on this show is the stuff that is real and relevant. And one of the things that we're going to be doing on Friday, there's been some. There's a Forbes article that just came out. There's been some other articles recently that are talking about how we might not be in for another 2 or 3 year bull run on the real estate market. We might actually be looking at a 10-year bull run for the real estate market. And what does that mean? And how does that apply to?
What's interesting, Judah? Just last week when we jumped on, we were talking about all of the talk of a bubble. Actually, that was.
And we were like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Here's why we don't see it.
I think that, I mean, this is a good lesson, right? You're going to get a lot of opinions over time. What do you do with opinions? You listen,
right?
You digest, you pull out when somebody makes a good argument. Okay, I'm going to research that a little bit more. But at the end of the day, whether it's us saying it or somebody else, you got to make up your own mind where the market's going. Correct. Could the whole market collapse and, houses are worth 10 cents on the dollar? It's probably not going to happen, but it could. Who knows?
Right. There's always a black swan, a possibility. There's always a possibility for a black swan event.
Well, and either that or the flip side, are we going to see prices go up tenfold because of inflation and demand and everything else that we have going on here? And we're going to have a 10-year bull run. That would be also equally surprising. But the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. And knowing when to exit, and a lot of times just comes down to making good decisions on the assets at hand in the moment that you're looking at them, and knowing that there's going to be some inconsistency and some surprises along the way. I mean, I really took us down a wrong road here, but anyway.
No, I love it. I love it.
So, all right, we'll be back here on Thursday. Until then, go out and make some money. Make sure you like and share the show. Invite your friends for Thursday, and we'll be back here at noon. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
See you, everybody.
See ya.